Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Cookiecast. Today on Cookiecast, it's the Darkest Timeline podcast. So unfortunately for you guys, you stuck with me for the day. I'm sure there'll be some sort of moaning about something, probably driving, who knows. Join me and listen to me talking to me. So this is Cookiecast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Right then, here we go. Oh, get set. Arrange. Body. Okay, here it is, Darkest Timeline podcast. With your host, Cookie, and only person here. We've got a bit of bird song. I've got the window open. It's a summer's evening. We're supposed to have loads of thunderstorms. As yet, no thunderstorms. Has rained though. But yeah, got the window open, so you might be able to hear the birds. For those of you that listen to the podcast late at night when you're ready for bed, you might like that. Otherwise, I'm going to have to try and find a way to edit that out. Small confession, didn't do a podcast last week. I had one of those busy weeks where I'd taken time off work and then ended up being busier than if I'd have been at work, and just couldn't really find the time to slot it in. So I've been sort of making my my list for the podcast over the course of the week, but never got around to it. So it's Monday of a new week. I've probably got enough here for 2 podcasts, but depending on how I get on, I'll either split this in 2 or I'll stop and start, something like that. So yeah, cool. Right, let's get into it. Let's go to the list. Those of you that do listen to the podcast will know that I think I mentioned this on the last one. I'd had a tooth out. I had a wisdom tooth out. At the point of recording, I think I said that I'd not been eating. So I couldn't get my head around the concept of eating. So yeah, I didn't. In the end, I didn't eat for a week. And it ended up being when I went to Manchester. Luke said that he wouldn't eat on his own, so I had to have something. And I'd been a week at that point, so I had something to eat while we were over in Manchester, and it's sort of been okay since then. But yeah, it was amazing to think in a whole week how few times I was actually hungry. I work on the principle that I've probably got quite a lot of reserves for my body to feed on. But yeah, it was amazing. A handful of times I've been like, "Ooh, I'm hungry." Actually hungry. I presume that's some kind of your body goes into starvation mode. It's not the first time that I've gone without food for a week, and yeah, similar to previous, it's like didn't barely notice. To be fair, I was drinking fruit juices, chocolate milk. Excuse me. So yeah, that was a thing. Didn't eat. So there's been a bit of change at work. Been given sort of other work to do, which is fine. I'm sort of fairly flexible with the work that I do, but the work I was given was, how do I word this politely, not the most exciting work. Well, I don't want to use the word monotonous, but So I found that the only way that I could sort of get through doing the work, there was just loads of it, was to try and turn it into a bit of a game. So it was like, right, okay, how many can I get done in the morning? This is how I used to work when I first started this job. It was sort of like I'd set myself little targets and little goals and try and beat this and try and do this faster and try and do this quicker and try and do that better. And I think in the early days of doing this job, it's probably what kept me in a job. Because, you know, short version is people like a hard worker, people like somebody who does things faster, stuff like that. So it's kind of, recently it's kind of felt like going back in time a little bit, because I'm doing similar work to what I was doing when I first started, and although our way of working is faster and simpler and things like that, it is still the same job and you have to do the same things. So I was like, oh, you know, maybe I can do, you know, maybe I can get 20 done in the morning, and maybe I can get 40 done in the day, or 50 done. Then somebody told me that their record was 47. It was Rob, who's been on the podcast before. He was like, oh, I did 47 in a day. So straight away it's like, oh, I'm definitely going to do more than 47. And then somebody said the record, the quote unquote record, was actually 51 in a day. So straight away, again, I'm going to beat that. I'm going to beat that. So on that day, I was like, right, okay, need to not only beat the other person's record, I need to smash it. So I think by the end of that day, I'd done 62 to be crowned champ of that work. But yeah, it certainly makes the day go a little bit smoother. I'll tell you something, exhausting. Doing something that's, like I say, not the most rock and roll of work. Yeah, but I'd get to sort of like 4:30, 5 o'clock and be wiped out. Could have just put my head on my desk and gone to sleep, like properly drained. And it's difficult when you've got like an hour or so left, and then you know that you've got to still go home and try and function on an evening and stuff. It's kind of one of those situations where coffee doesn't really touch the sides. It doesn't really do much at that point. So yeah, making work a game. Typically I went to work today and was given completely different work to what I've been given previously. So again, it's like, right, how many of these can I get through? Or what date can I get up to? I was trying to bring the date of things down, which I sort of did. Could have done to have got another day's worth out of it today, but there's only so many hours in the day, and I had like 2 meetings to do today. So yeah, that was making work a game. Try it, it's fun. If you've got a job where you can sort of, you know, set yourself a mini goal, set yourself a goal for the day. It's not always going to work. Some days are harder than others, but it certainly did help me get through a long day. I can't tell you what tomorrow will be like, but we'll see. So, as you'll know by now, again, if you listen to the podcast, we've had a new podcast. Me and the boy Luke did a podcast. Finally, it's been a long time coming as that one. I'll tell you that much. Carcast, nothing to do with cars, other than we were in a car. Luke was worried that people. He was like, maybe people think that we're talking about cars. It's like, maybe. But it was actually the road trip that we took to go and see Metallica in Manchester. That was cool. Me and Luke covered various aspects of that. But I wrote while we were at the gig. There's this whole thing that my least favourite Metallica song was "The Memory Remains," and there was this thing about them playing it second. Obviously, I covered it in both parts of that podcast I did with Luke, but it's actually here on my list. Like Metallica playing my least favourite song second. I was like, that's it, you're going on the list. So that was sort of a bit of a joke at the time. But yeah, it was good. It was a good gig. It was a good day. It was a good show. It's been a long time coming, going to see them again for one reason or another. So yeah, it ticked all the boxes. I know I've covered this in the other podcast, but it was just from sort of my perspective of things. I was pleased that me and Luke could go. Obviously, the first time I saw Metallica, it was me and Luke. There's a picture somewhere in existence of me and Luke, sort of our backs as we walk into the MEN to go and see Metallica for the first time. And that's sort of how I always remember it. I always remember that picture being synonymous with me and Luke going to see Metallica. So yeah, it was good. But like I say, has been covered. Something that I meant to look up, which I'm wondering if I can talk and Google. Google it, great googly moogly. So I've got a note here about cyclists. Cyclist made to pay. Oh, here we go, yeah. Cyclist who... Oh, wow, the amount's gone up. No, that's how much has been raised. Right, okay, so two things, right. The three things. Number one, I'm not the biggest fan of cyclists, which is weird because years ago I used to be one and I hated it. I hated riding on the roads because cars were dicks. You know, just how difficult it was made riding on the roads. I'd get like flat tyres left, right and centre, and that used to drive me up the wall. The bike I've got now, which I've had for years and years and years, the tyres on it are really big and they're a nightmare to get off. And this isn't one of those where it's like, oh, that's just me saying it. I used to work in a bike shop, and at one point I was like, oh, I've got one or maybe two flat tyres. I was like, any chance you can just change the inner tubes for me? By the way, the tyres are a nightmare to get off. And they were like, oh, I'm sure it'll be fine. I was like, all right then, fair enough. And yeah, even they were like, no, we really struggled getting those tyres off. So yeah, getting a flat tyre was an absolute nightmare. I hated, you know, and you can guarantee you'd be like miles from anywhere and flat tyre. And you know, when you're a certain age, you'll try and pump it up to get a few more miles out of it or whatever, and you could guarantee it'd be like a really bad puncture. So there was a lot of benefits, you know, health. I do often think that maybe I should just jump back on the bike and ride to work. But along with the other things that I'll come to later, you know, that's not happening anytime soon. You know, it's free. You're under your own steam. There are a lot of benefits, but on the other hand, there's a lot of downsides to it. Like I say, riding on the road you were taking your life in your own hands. Cars just didn't care. Yeah, you know, you had a high chance of dying as a cyclist. So yeah, I hated being a cyclist, and I'm not a huge fan of cyclists, especially now that I've sort of learnt to drive and stuff. Actually, no, that's not true. There's actually nothing to do with learning to drive. other than part of this story. I actually really started disliking cyclists when I'd be walking a lot of the places, and cyclists riding on the pavement drive me up the wall. Now, ironically, if you think about me saying, oh, you know, it's an absolute nightmare being on the roads, problem you've got is I live in a city where they put a lot of cycle paths, cycle road bits, all sorts of things in for cyclists. So in my book, there's no reason for cyclists to be riding on the pavement. Pavement's for people, sort of thing. So that used to drive me up the wall, especially when they expect you to move when they're the obstruction. And the legal definition is that a cyclist can legally ride on the pavement up to the point that they become an obstruction. So take from that what you will. So me and Luke were in Manchester. We jump in the car. Due to where we parked and the way we were heading out, no traffic, literally no traffic. You know, it's nearly 1 o'clock in the morning, sort of thing. So, you know, we set out and we saw a cyclist riding down the road in almost black clothing. It was dark clothing. It wasn't black, but it was dark clothing. No lights. So at this point, like in any situation, if you choose to put yourself in danger, then I have no sympathy for you. Quite simple. So this person has not done themselves any favours in my book. No lights, dark clothing, riding a bike, very late at night. You know, let's not forget, if that cyclist gets hit by a car, it's the driver's fault. It's not the cyclist's fault. In no way, shape or form is it ever the cyclist's fault. I'm sure that I'd heard something that if a cyclist rides into a parked car, it's the owner of the car's fault. It's things like that. Like, there are some rules and laws that are just bonkers. So, as we're about to pass this cyclist, I'm about to give the cyclist a wide berth. The cyclist has clearly seen a puddle and swerved out into the middle of the road to avoid the puddle. Literally at the moment that we're about to pass the cyclist. It was like, we were sort of like, whoa, what are you doing? It's like, by this point, definitely this person's trying to kill themselves. They're doing absolutely everything possible to do themselves a severe injury. I have no sympathy for that. That's just plain stupidity. It's a simple, you know, you don't fuck around with certain things. Don't fuck around with cars, they're death machines. Don't fuck around on bikes with no lights on at night when you knew there was a car coming. It's utter madness. However, having said all that, Leanne told me something the other day and I was like, that makes no sense. So I've Googled it and it's taken me to the Evening Standard. So I think this is today. So this is, Leanne told me this story a few days ago. So this must be like an update. So the title is Fund for Cyclist Who Hit Woman on Phone Soars Past 50,000. More than £50,000 has been raised for a cyclist who was ordered to pay compensation to a pedestrian he crashed into as she crossed the road while looking at her mobile phone. This guy, Robert Hazeldine, who's 38, faces a £100,000 bill and bankruptcy after hitting Gemma Bruchette, 28, as she crossed a busy junction in London Bridge in 2015. So this woman sued the cyclist after suffering damage to her front teeth and facial scars in the crash. Oh, I didn't know that. Judge at the London said that Mr. Hazeldine was a calm and responsible road user, but shared equal responsibility for the collision because he had duty of care. So basically what's been said is, this woman is looking at her phone, the light is green for the road, so for the cyclist the light is green. Cyclist has set off. and the woman is looking at her phone and crosses the road in front of the cyclist. Cyclist hits the woman. By the sounds of it, she suffered some injuries, teeth and face, and has then decided to sue the cyclist. Cyclist has defended themselves in court and has lost, because basically the judges deemed that the cyclist, it's the cyclist's responsibility to be aware of their surroundings and all of that, and that means that it was the cyclist's fault. Just let that one sink in for a moment. I mean, like I say, I'm not a huge fan of the cyclist, but that is utter madness. The fact that this woman has chosen to essentially walk out into the middle of the road. Well, what if it had been a car? Not looking, walks out into the middle of the road, gets hit by a bike, sues the cyclist, and wins. And basically, he's had a solicitor that's defended him. There'll be the court costs, and there's her legal whatever. I think she wanted like £7,000 or something. I think Leanne said. Then there was his legal bill. Then there was her legal bill. Then there was the court costs. It was like £20,000 to start with, and his solicitors had told him that the bill was probably going to go up to over £100,000. Madness. Complete and utter madness. There is no version of this story where that woman isn't at fault. That cyclist was just riding along, and this woman has stepped out into the road. He's hit her, which at this point in time is her fault. She has caused this accident, yet he's penalised for it. And again, as is always the case, I'll just sort of throw out this is the world that we're living in at this point in time. Utter madness. But there you go. At this point in time, we should all start looking for cyclists. Get on our mobile phones. Get on Facebook. Twitter. Start sending out a tweet. Instagram the moment that the cyclist hits you. And then sue them. Madness. Couple of things that I've seen in the last week. YouTube. So the podcast goes out on YouTube. It goes out on iTunes and SoundCloud and stuff like that, but it does go out on YouTube. And it doesn't cost anything. SoundCloud costs money. And ultimately, so does iTunes, in the fact that I have to pay for SoundCloud. Don't get me wrong, iTunes doesn't charge me anything, but they also have very strict ways for you to send them your podcast. So, like I say, it costs money. YouTube, on the other hand, you can upload something to YouTube. You're paying for the electricity and your computer and that sort of stuff. Other than that, it's free. So don't get me wrong, I do understand the price of free, let's say. I have an ad blocker on both the laptop and the desktop. Because as anybody who listens to the podcast knows, if there's one thing in this world I hate more than anything, it's adverts. You'll have heard me say before, you can't sell me anything. So whenever I use the laptop for anything, I don't really use the laptop as much as I did for like internet and emails and stuff like that. I use the desktop a lot more, and laptop is more of it's essentially a recording device at this point in time. But I do use my phone. I haven't got an ad blocker on my phone. Don't know if that's something that I can get. I might look into it, because my word, YouTube have really stepped up their game. So there was a point in time where YouTube started putting adverts in videos, embedded adverts in videos, and you could see them because they're little yellow markers on the red line on the YouTube video. and they were super annoying. So you'd be watching something or listening to something, like if you put music on YouTube, or you put a video on or something, and then part way through, it was never a break of anything. It was like part way through a song or part way through somebody talking or something, an advert that you can't skip. And if that wasn't bad enough, now you get an advert at the start of a YouTube video, which is standard if you don't have an ad blocker. And now it's 2 adverts. Obviously you can skip them, but you have to wait. But now you've got 2 adverts that you need to skip. And it's beyond a joke at this point. For somebody who hates adverts, it's like a definition of hell. It's just like, and yeah, it very quickly gets quite painful to deal with. And like I say, I use my desktop a lot more than anything. But in a pinch, you might have to use YouTube on your phone or something. So in a pinch, and yeah, you're just stuck with this 2 advert thing that it started doing now. Super annoying. Something else I've noticed in the last week. It's not something I've noticed in the last week. It's something I've noticed quite a bit. But I made note of it in the last week. Thought it would be interesting to mention. Facebook tells you, it'll say, on this day in 1989, this film was released. And then it'll show you a trailer. Like The Great Outdoors was one I saw recently. Transformers, the movie. I know it's recently the 30th anniversary of Tim Burton's Batman. But that's not what I'm talking about. So Facebook goes, on this day, X number of years ago, or in the particular year, this film was released. And you're like, oh wow. So on this day, in a particular year, that film was released. That's amazing. There's been a few occasions where I'm like, really? That's interesting. You jump onto the old IMDb, go, oh, when did that film come out? Let's get a little bit of information about that film. All right, so it didn't come out today, X number of years ago at all. And it's like Facebook just does this thing where it goes, oh, this film came out 30 years ago. Could have been today. Might not have been. But we'll tell you it was, and you'll believe us. And yeah, it's just this weird thing that it keeps doing, like all the time. It's like, this film came out 25 years ago. Today. No, it didn't. I can safely say that any of them that I've actually taken the time to look up, not one of them has been true. So yeah, don't go running around telling people, oh, you know what came out 30 years ago today? Yeah, it was this. Because if you got it from Facebook, chances are, probably wasn't. Right, let's get to the fun stuff. Less of me moaning, more of the stuff you've come to know and love. So, let's talk some games. No surprises. Been playing a bit of Ghost Recon. However, a game that I've been waiting for a really long time to come out has finally come out. And it's a bit weird. So, the game, My Friend Pedro, came out, now then, was it Friday last week? Might have been. Now, I knew a few things about this game. One, it was only being released on the PC and on the Nintendo Switch. Luckily for me, there is a Nintendo Switch in this house. So I was like, okay, cool. It's one of those, another one that I've watched multiple videos, I've watched a lot about it. I was super excited, it looks super cool. The sort of description of it is Deadpool meets The Matrix meets platforming meets, there's like bits where you can skateboard and stuff. Side-scrolling, a little bit of a platformer. It's got like the bullet time from the Matrix, and the guy looks like a yellow and black version of Deadpool. Turns out Pedro, my friend Pedro is actually a banana that talks. So, you know, it's that sort of game. It's one of these things that I'd put it in the same category as something like Bulletstorm or Bayonetta, like these super stylized games where you're supposed to know all the moves and do all the tricks. So in this, obviously, you can slow down time and you can dodge. You've got a dodge button, so you can dodge bullets, and then you can jump and you can kick things and you can shoot, and you've got different guns and things like that. So, super cool, loads of fun. However, I'm not very good at these sorts of games. So the weird thing is, coming out on the Switch, so definitely going to be 60 quid on the Switch. Coming out on the PC, probably be like 35 quid. Get a message from Sam on Friday. Oh, my friend Pedro has been released. I'm like, whoa, that snuck up on me. What the hell? He's like, yeah, it's available on Steam and it's available on the Switch. I was like, I didn't realise it was coming out on the Switch at the same time, because I'd seen a thing saying it was going to be released on the PC fairly soon. Still no dates and this, that and the other. No, it's out and it's out on both. Okay. I was like, oh, you know, it'll be really expensive on the Switch. He was like, well, it's £15 on Steam, and if you buy it day one, I think like Steam customers get like 5 or 10 or 15% discount on day one releases. So I was like, well, that's crazy insane. I was like, I presume the Switch will just be like your standard 60 quid. So I was like, it's £18 on the Switch. I'm like, what the actual fuck? So over the weekend, I was like, I've got to look for this. Couldn't find it on like Amazon or anything. And then I'm like, oh, hang on a minute. Maybe it's like a digital download, digital only download. Did a Google search, turns out, yeah, digital only. So I'm like, all right, okay. Let's have a look at the Nintendo, I think it's called the eShop or something. So I had a look on there, did a search. So yeah, my friend Pedro, game I've been waiting for at least 18 months, sitting there, $17.99. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Drink break. So I'm like, get me some of this right now. So, bought it. Well, actually, it needed a credit card, so Leanne bought it. I don't have a credit card. So, got it downloading, got it installing, all of the good stuff that's needed for games these days. And then had a go. And I've been playing it on and off. One cool thing about the Switch is that it's basically a handheld that you can plug in and play on your TV. I haven't played it on the TV, I've just played it as a handheld. I don't mean the Switch, I mean my friend Pedro. And it works quite well. It's quite nice to just be able to pick it up and put it down. One of the nice things about the Switch is even when it's like switched off, it's basically just like the game's just paused. So when you just pick it up, turn the Switch on, and it's like go. So that's cool. So every now and then, if I've got spare 5 or 10 minutes, pick it up, have a go. That's one of the nice things. You know, 5 or 10 minutes, you can do a level as long as you don't die a lot like I do. But yeah, it's in a lot of ways it's not a game for me. Platformer for a start. I've just done a proper full-blown platform level, drove me up the wall. And a stylized shooter, which again, not for me. But it has got to the point now where I'm not even doing like the bullet time or dodging unless it tells me to. I'm just running around, shooting guys, skating on skateboards, and having a bit of a laugh. You've got like some on rails bits. There's a motorbike bit, and I've just done one where you've like jumped off a building and you're like free falling down the side of the building. It's fun. I'm enjoying it. I can't get my ranking above C for could do better or something like that. Like basically the lowest ranking you can get. Some of the on rails bits I've managed to get like B. But yeah, I'm never going to be a person who's going to be like, hey, look how good I am at a game like this, because I'm just not. In a lot of ways, it's not a game for me. But yeah, I was drawn to it, and I kind of like it. I did a bit earlier this evening where I'd like try and destroy like a, I don't know what it was, like a hover ship type thing that had a big gun on, and it was driving me up the wall. But I did it in the end, moved on. That was good. So, if you are a PC gamer who's got a Steam account, I imagine everybody's got a Steam. I've got a Steam account, Jesus. Or if you own a Nintendo Switch and you like the sound of My Friend Pedro, you could give it a go. It's certainly, so far, it's been worth the money, that's for sure. 18 quid on the Switch. Bargain. Especially, you find me a Switch game that you can buy for that much. I'll keep playing it and I'll keep you updated. I'll let you know if I finish it or if I get stuck or anything like that. But yeah, that's my friend Pedro. Well worth it. Good fun. That is not the only game I've had recently. Like I say, I'm still playing Ghost Recon. My Ghost Recon game got a glitch. I was trying to do one of the special missions, the additional missions that they give you, which is the prequel to the new one, to Breakpoint. That's got that John Bernthal, I think that's his name, the Punisher from the TV series, and he was in The Walking Dead and stuff like that. He's actually in Wildlands as like it's setting up the new game, Breakpoint. Tried to do that mission, got halfway through it, and it was a combination. I was dying, and then JK joined my game, and I ended up, because all my team was gone, nobody could revive me, so I ended up jumping to his location. And now that version of my game just thinks that I'm still in the middle of the mission, but I can't get back into where the mission is, so I can't complete it. I'd finished Fallen Ghosts DLC, so I decided that it was probably time to start the whole game again. Just thought it was kind of like one of those where I was like, well, at least I'll be able to do the special missions. The one that I can't do because of the glitch. However, I was in town with Ian at the weekend. Have a catch up and a drink, and I wanted to get him something for helping out with the car, so I took him a little bit of something. And while I was in town, I'd seen that Rage 2 was in the sort of price range I'd be prepared to pay for it second hand in CEX. And we have a voucher for CEX, so it was a bit like, got home, wish I'd have taken the voucher with me. Denied about it, and ended up going back into town in the afternoon. Picked up Rage 2, got home, bought it on the PS4. Obviously I haven't used the PS4 for a while because I've been on the Xbox playing Ghost Recon, because I've been playing it on there because that's where I've got the DLCs. Bought Rage 2 on the PS4, switched PS4 on, the PS4 was like, hey, you haven't turned me on in a while, so I need some updates. It's like, okay. It's like, I've also got some games that need updating. That's fine. I don't have enough space for the updates. That's not as good. Okay. Can you install this game while you're at it? You must be joking. So, must have spent half an hour just clearing space, deleting stuff I don't need, moving stuff around, installing updates, installing the game off the disc, installing the update for that. The update was like 14 gig for Rage. I think it said it was going to take like a ridiculous number of hours. So basically just turned the TV off and left it. By the time I came back to it, it was done. So Rage 2. Everything I've heard about Rage 2 up till this point was basically, oh yeah, great game, super fun, loads of fun, lot of fun, really short. Which is why I wasn't prepared to pay full price for it. I wasn't even prepared to pay a little bit less. I wanted to get that price right down. So I was like, okay, I can get this game for this much. Fine, let's get it and see. Even if it's short, you know, still get to play it, sort of thing. It's a bit of a weird one. It's made by Bethesda and ID Software, so it's very I mean it's a little bit Doom, let's face it. I played the first Rage, really enjoyed it, although the first Rage got not great reviews. I enjoyed it a lot more than the reviews gave it credit for, I guess. I played it quite a bit. I played it like a few times from start to finish. So I got Rage 2 and I'm playing it and I'm like, there's something just... Me and Bethesda have not been getting on recently. They are not my favourite company. Their latest trick is that they just release games that are unfinished. And they get their community to fix them. Fallout 76, Fallout 4, things like that. They just release broken games and they're like, hey, we've got a great community, a community of people who will happily mod and fix our games, and then we will just take all of their work and re-release stuff in patches, which makes us look better. Yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of them as a company these days. They made some of my favourite games at one point. They made Oblivion, which I'm never going to say wasn't one of my favourite games. But if I'm honest, it's been a little bit downhill since then. Skyrim, thoroughly enjoyed playing Skyrim at the time. I've tried to go back to Skyrim about 4 or 5 times and I just can't do it. It's definitely not a play it again kind of game. Do they make the hell is that? Wolfenstein. They might make them Wolfenstein games again. The first of like the more recent Wolfenstein games was great, and then anything that's come since then has been really lacking. It's like they were like, oh, we did a really good game, but we forgot how we made that, so we'll just give you this instead. Anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Rage. Rage 2. I was talking to Tim at work today and I was saying, as far as like some of the things like the difficulty, one minute you'll be like wandering around and going into like bases and stuff and you'll just be able to like kill everyone. It's like, cool, I've got essentially superpowers and I've got cool weapons and I can just kill everyone because I'm like a god. You're like, cool, I like that, that's fun, that makes it fun. Then you go to the next settlement or little bit over or whatever it is, and you walk in and you're like, hey, I've got the same superpowers I had at the last place and I've got the same weapons and they're cool, but everybody's wearing head to foot body armour, which takes multiple shots to kill, and oh, there's like 100 of them. So the difficulty is all over the shop. It's really weird. It does actually say that, you know, there are difficulty ratings for certain bases and stuff. But my question would be, if I've got all of the powers and all of the guns, should the difficulty not come down? Or are you just saying that it's still as difficult as it's always, or is it just going to stay at that difficulty? Because then there's going to be areas that you're going to be like, I can't do that because I'm not skilled enough to do it. That's how I play games generally. I'm not very good at them. I play everything on easy, or the easiest setting I can. Maybe that's why I'm not very good. Some people would agree. I was saying to a couple of people today, I've kind of cheated a little bit. I have Googled where the arcs are. The arcs are where you get your weapons and your super power upgrade, whatever the hell you want to call them. Still don't understand why putting a suit of armour on, not like a medieval suit, but like a updated suit of armour, gives you superpowers. I'm not sure I'll ever understand those. But anyway, you get these superpowers and you get like cool weapons. My favourite so far is you get a revolver and you can shoot people, and it shoots them with like almost like a tracking bullet. But when you click your fingers, the bullet that you've hit them with bursts into flames. It's very Full Metal Alchemist. It resembles something like Full Metal Alchemist, so that's kind of cool. Certainly my favourite weapon so far. I'm going to go back to it. Literally, I'm going to finish this podcast, transfer the data to the desktop, and then I'll come and play Rage. Something that I've found to be annoying to the point that a few occasions it's made me want to turn it off. You go into a base and it's like, oh, in this base there is a supply chest and an arc chest and these data pads, so go and find them all. And there are times when I'm just wandering round and round and round and round and round and can't find the stuff. You get like trackers, like you can track. At the moment I can track supply cases, but the tracker's not very good. It doesn't really tell you where they are. So yeah, something that could certainly be a lot better. There's also been missions like that. I did one last night where it was like, go to a petrol station and destroy all the fuel tanks so that the bad guys can't use the petrol. It's like, yeah, it's a fair enough premise. But I had to destroy 13 fuel tanks and I found 9, which took a fair while, and I couldn't find the last 4, and it was driving me insane. And then I saw like a big door in the floor outside of the petrol station, and then there was like a cable and a box, and it turned out you just flicked a switch on the box and the doors opened and the fuel tanks were in there. But for how long it took me to find, it was, yeah, super annoying. These are the things that I'm like, just makes me want to turn it off. So if I had a suggestion for that game, it would be to make things easier to find. But like I say, I'm going to keep playing it. If it's super short, I'm already doing like all the side missions it gives me the option to do, because I know that it's short, so I'm already trying to get my money's worth out of it. If it's short, I'll probably finish it fairly soon, because I did put a good few hours into it over the weekend. And like I say, I kind of cheated and I went off and found all the arcs, apart from one. I've still got one that I need to find, which I'll do in a bit. So those are the games I've been playing. Well, to be fair, those are the console games I've been playing. I've been playing like a lot of mobile games. I think I mentioned on a podcast at some point. It could have been the Darkest Time, or it could have been like a bullshit cast or something. I've been playing Lemmings on my phone. Loads of fun. The biggest drawback to that game is that it's one of these like energy based games, so you can only play for however long you've got energy, and it costs energy to build things or to use the functions that you can do. Costs energy, and you can get like, you might be able to play like 2 or 3 levels and then you're out of energy, which is a bit annoying, but that's loads of fun. I've been really enjoying that. Few sort of stonking levels of like, it's just super crazy, but cool when you work out how to do it and get through it, sort of thing. What else have I been playing? Let me just have a look at the games I've got. I've got this one called Astro Kings. It's like you have like a planet and you build things on your planet, but you've also got like spaceships and you have space battles and stuff. It's not great. It's certainly better than a lot of games like this I've played, but I can see that it's probably going to fall by the wayside fairly soon. word story for a dyslexic. Again, not loads of fun, but I gave it a whirl. I downloaded an Attack on Titans mobile game. I played it once. It seemed okay. Haven't been back to it though. That might say something. Something I did want to talk about was the new Harry Potter mobile game. Basically, Pokemon Go, but Harry Potter. I thought it was quite an interesting concept. I was like, yeah, I'll give it a download. And that's how far I got. Because I downloaded it and it went, alright, cool. Just sign in with either your Facebook account or your Google account. And I went, okay, so where's the option to play as like a guest or to not sign up? Oh, there isn't one. Then I'm not playing your game. This isn't the first time I've downloaded a game that's then wanted me to sign up to it. JK made a lot of fun of me about this, me and my conspiracy theories, but at the end of the day, all that is about tracking you. It's about profiling. It's about gathering information about you. I honestly invite you to go on to some of these privacy things and actually read through what rights you're giving up to a lot of these things. The worst one I ever encountered was the Nero app. I love Nero's as a coffee shop, but I had their app. I had it for a few weeks. You like collect stamps, you get free drinks, cool. But then they changed their privacy policy and it wanted me to sign up to it, and I was like, why? Before accepting that, it gave me the option to read the privacy stuffs, which I did. And wished I hadn't, and regretted it immediately. The stuff that you are allowing them to do is off the charts. Basically, it was, you are saying that we are allowed to collect as much data as we can about you. Bear in mind this is on your phone, so it's got access to all sorts of stuff. We can legally collect as much data as we want. We can then sell that data to absolutely everyone. And one of my favourites was, if you say, if you want to use our free Wi-Fi in our coffee shops, we can also collect all of your internet data whilst you're using our internet. So that's your Facebook information, any Google searches you do, your emails, your Instagram, your Twitter, anything you use on their Wi-Fi, they can collect and then sell it. At the end of the day, data is big business, and lots of people and lots of companies out there are making a lot of money off the back of you going, yeah, I agree to those terms and conditions. The Harry Potter, I think it's Wizards Unite or whatever it's called, the Pokemon Go of Harry Potter, wanted me to sign in with Facebook or Google, and I was like, I'm not prepared to do that. And if that means I can't play your game, that's fine by me. Like I say, I have been mocked for this. I honestly don't care. I'm not prepared to just hand over my data for somebody to make money off it so that I can watch yet another advert on YouTube. It's just, I'm not prepared to do it. So that's like, that's, yeah. Update on the gym. Still haven't been. I really should have gone last night. And I was definitely, you know, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, definitely gonna go. And I was like, just go, just get your stuff together, stick it in the bag, jump in the car, drive. Even if you just go for a run, just do that. You know, go and sweat for half an hour, and then you say you did it, and you did it, and you know, and yeah, I didn't, and it's just really bad. It's got to the point now where I'm like, I need someone to make me go. But yeah, I need to go back to the gym. I need to go to the gym, even if it's just to go running. I need to do that. If somebody would like to come and make me go, I'm happy to entertain that. And it's one of the things. These podcasts, these come out months after I record them because of because of all the other podcasts that we've got. So by the time this comes out, I might have gone back to the gym. Fingers crossed. But yeah, it's getting to that point now that I'm getting quite annoyed with myself. But if I'm honest, sitting and playing games is a bit more, feels a bit more important. And I know I've said before, it's like how I decompress and how I recoup and things like that. It's not really acceptable. But yeah, I literally at the moment go from playing on the console to playing on my phone to going to bed. I don't even really read that much. Although I did go back to a bit of reading recently. So yeah, need to sort that out. But as is the way things have been going, I will keep you updated with my lack of going to the gym. Running is definitely something I need to get back to doing. For all the reasons that I've already previously mentioned. So that is that. Looking at the time, turns out I probably didn't have 2 podcasts worth of stuff. If I'm honest, and I will be honest, because this is part of the reason for this, I did start a podcast. I did record nearly 10 minutes of a podcast. I then felt really bad about what I was talking about, and I just started stumbling over my words because I felt bad about the subject and stuff. So I actually stopped the recording and deleted it. So there was at least a subject that I just got rid of. But that's another one done, another one in the bag. And yeah, thanks to you guys for riding shotgun on this one. Thanks to everybody I've mentioned up to this point. Even though you're not here, you make up the podcast. So big thanks to anybody I mentioned. And yeah, until next time, I'll say bye and I'll see you then. Bye. So there you go then. What do you think to that? Another one in the bag. Another week closer to whatever it is that you're looking forward to. YouTube watchers, it's not the most exciting for you guys on these ones, but please do subscribe. Drop us some comments. Tell us what you're liking. Everybody jump over to thecookiecast.com. Check us out over there. Social media love. Email love. Tell me when you're going to come on to my podcast and talk about how you are my special guest and your specialist subject. That's a genuine thing. Send me an email. Let me know when you want to come on. If you've got a specialist subject you want to talk about, I'm happy to discuss it. So yeah, another week gone. Another podcast in the bag. Until next week, I'm going to say bye and I'll see you then. Bye.